Ah, here we go again.
Aphrodite, the Greek Olympian goddess of love, beauty, pleasure, and procreation. She was born when she emerged from the foam and waves of the sea. Her mysterious birth gives her an air of mystery that she carries with her in her encounters with all people. She enchants all those who come in contact with her, and humans and gods alike all fall for her charm. There are, however, some stories about her that stand out more than others. Who was Aphrodite, and what was her love story? Let's start with her birth. There are a few stories that try to explain Aphrodite's birth. In one story, she was formed in the sea after Cronus castrated Uranus. Another story says that Zeus, king of the gods, and his lover, Dione, were her parents. No matter how she was born, all stories do agree that she was both sensual and beautiful, and she enchanted everyone she came in contact with. So what did Aphrodite look like? Aphrodite is always depicted as being a beautiful young woman. She has long hair and a garment that enhances her feminine shape, or no garment at all. She is looked at as being the most beautiful female in the world, and the standard to which all women compare themselves. Her ultimate symbol is her girdle, where it is said much of her feminine power lies. Her other symbols include the golden apple, dolphins, roses, a mirror, and a swan. Aphrodite's love life. So we know Aphrodite plays a big role in meddling in the love lives of others, but what about her own? Turns out, she herself is in one big love crisis with lovers in the mortal and the divine world. Let's start with her mortal lovers. Adonis. Once, Aphrodite took a baby boy she had found beside a myrrh tree to the underworld and asked Persephone to take good care of him. However, when she went to visit him after many years, she instantly fell in love with the now unusually handsome mortal. So she asked to have Adonis back. Persephone wouldn't allow this. Zeus settled the quarrel by dividing Adonis' time between the two goddesses. However, Adonis preferred Aphrodite, and when the time came, he didn't want to go back to the underworld. So Persephone sent a wild boar to kill him, and Adonis bled to death in Aphrodite's arms. Anemone sprang out of the tears of Aphrodite while she was mourning the death of her lover. The couple had 2 children, Beroy and Golgus. Anchises. Before Adonis came Anchises, a handsome young shepherd who was manipulated by the gods to fall in love with Aphrodite. And although her love for him was true, their tale is not as pure. Aphrodite enjoyed manipulating her fellow gods and getting them to fall in love with humans. In revenge, the gods picked handsome Anchises as he tended his cattle and showered him with virility, so Aphrodite would find the young shepherd irresistible. She was immediately smitten and flew to her great temple at Paphos to have the Graces bathe her and anoint her with oil of ambrosia to present herself to Anchises. Once she was beautified, she took on the form of a young virgin, and that night appeared to Anchises on the hill above Troy. As soon as Anchises laid eyes on the goddess, although he didn't know what she was, he fell for her, and the two lay together under the stars. Later, Aphrodite revealed her true form to Anchises, who immediately feared for his potency, as those who lay with gods and goddesses immediately lose their vigor. She reassured him of his continued legacy, promising to bear upon him a son, Aeneas. And as the years drew on, Anchises became boastful of his union with Aphrodite and was later crippled for his arrogance. Butes. A lord of Attica, southern Greece, and one of the Argonauts. He was rescued by Aphrodite when he leapt into the sea under the charm of the Sirens. She carried him off to Italia as her lover and bore a son, Eryx. Phaeton, an Athenian lord, son of the goddess Eos, and her mortal love, Cephalus, who was carried off by Aphrodite to Syria. There, she made him guardian of her temple and bore him a son, Astynos. And Paris. Paris was the final mortal who had the fortune of seeing Aphrodite in her true form. This happened when he was tasked with judging who of the 3 goddesses, Aphrodite, Hera, and Athena, was the fairest in the story of the Golden Apple. They enlisted the help of Paris, who chose Aphrodite as the most desirable. Each of the goddesses promised Paris something if he chose her as the most beautiful, because Aphrodite made a promise to Paris to make her his wife. This gave her a competitive advantage over the other goddesses and made her the victor. Aphrodite's reward was the golden apple, a symbol of her beauty. Aphrodite was not only enchantingly beautiful, but she had quite the cunning mind as well, and only the three virgin goddesses, Artemis, Athena, and Hestia, were immune to her charm and power. Unsurprisingly, the second she got on Olympus, she inadvertently wreaked havoc amongst the gods, each of whom instantly wanted to have her for himself. So as to prevent this, Zeus hurriedly married her to Hephaestus. Hephaestus was nowhere near Aphrodite's usual type. The blacksmith god of fire was born hunched and ugly, filling his mother Hera with disgust that she flung him from the heights of Mount Olympus, permanently crippling him so he forever walked with a limp. Where other gods lounged on Olympus, drinking and cavorting with humans, Hephaestus remained below, toiling on weapons and intricate devices that none could replicate, stewing in the cold, bitter resentment of what Hera had done to him. Forever the outsider, he decided to take revenge. He crafted a throne for Hera that as soon as he sat upon it, she found herself trapped and none could free her. Enraged, Hera sent Ares to capture Hephaestus, but he was chased away. Next, Dionysus went and bribed the other god with a drink until he agreed to return. Once back on Mount Olympus, he told Zeus that he would only free Hera if he could marry the beautiful Aphrodite. Zeus accepted, and the two were wed. But Aphrodite was, of course, unhappy, so she started an affair with someone as destructive and violent as herself, Ares. Throughout her marriage to Hephaestus, she and Ares continued to meet and sleep together away from the prying eyes of the other gods. But there was one god that they couldn't avoid, Helios, where Helios was the sun god and spent his days hanging high in the sky where he could see all. He told Hephaestus that he had seen the lovers in action, causing the fire god to fly into a rage. He hatched a plan to capture and humiliate Aphrodite and Ares, using his own talents as a blacksmith. In anger, he forged a net of fine strands, so thin that they were invisible even to the other gods, and hung it across Aphrodite's bedchamber. When the beautiful goddess of love, Aphrodite, and the god of war, Ares, next entered their chambers and fell laughingly together into the sheets, they suddenly found themselves trapped, the net weaving tightly around their exposed bodies. The other gods, who were unable and unwilling to pass up the chance to see the beautiful Aphrodite in the nude, ran to stare at her beauty and laugh at the furious and also nude Ares.
Eventually,
Hephaestus released the couple after eliciting a promise from Poseidon, god of the sea, that Zeus would return all Aphrodite's marital gifts to him. Poor Hephaestus. He couldn't have known that when Poseidon saw Aphrodite in her true form, he fell in love with her all over again. He must have found out later though, since Aphrodite gave Poseidon at least one daughter, Rhode. And she didn't give up on Ares either. In fact, after the bronze net scandal, she bore the god of war as many as 8 children: Deimos, Phobos, Harmonia, Adrestia, and the 4 Erotis, Eros, Antares, Photis, and Himerus. After that incident, Ares immediately fled to Thrace, a region in modern-day southern Turkey, whereas Aphrodite traveled to her great temple in Paphos to lick her wounds and be showered in adoration by her beloved citizens. And last but not least of Aphrodite's love affairs, Hermes. Hermes didn't have many consorts, but he did have Aphrodite at least once, as the very name of their offspring, hermaphrodites, suggest. It seems that only Zeus and Hades managed to never fall for the goddess of love, but the second didn't even live on Olympus and the former may have been her father. But then again, when did incest ever matter to the Greek gods? If you liked our video, don't forget to subscribe and follow our channel for more videos like this one.